Hello, welcome to CJC's Motivations. I was reading something, and I saw someone just wrote, "My attitude will always be based on how you treat me." I thought about this statement. While it sounds so good, it sounds quite understandable, but this may not reflect a heavy mindset, and adopting such a mindset will not be good at all for you. You might not be able to contribute to your overall well being. My attitude will always be based on how people treat me. There are many pitfalls basing your attitude on other people's treatment, other people's actions or behavior. So let's look at it. Look at this in details. Number one, emotional instability. You see, when you base your attitude on how other people treat you, you become reactive instead of proactive. When your mood or your attitude is always directly tied to how others treat you, you become reactive instead of proactive in managing your emotions. And this actually means that instead of setting the tone of your day or your interactions, you are letting others dictate it or set it for you. So it is quite not healthy. For example, if someone is rude to you, your immediate reaction is that probably you will be anger, frustration, and that your emotion can just linger on for a long time, maybe throughout the day, throughout the week, just because somebody was rude to you. So over the time, this constant emotional fluctuation can wear your mental and emotional stability. It can wear you down. It can become very stressful. Okay, now let's look at another aspect of it. Depending on external validation, relying on other people's behavior to determine your attitude creates a kind of dependency on external validation. You will let people, if you receive praise, then you're happy, you feel good. If you face criticisms or negativity, you feel down. So that will be a kind of roller coaster kind of emotions you'll be having throughout the day or throughout the week. So this can lead to a roller coaster emotions where your self-esteem and confidence are always fluctuating based on how others perceive you or how they treat you. So, and that is not good. Let's look at another one. Number two, resentment. You see, when you continue to accumulate negative emotions because some people treated you badly or some people didn't treat you well, so when you allow other people's negative actions to dictate your attitude, you may unconsciously accumulate resentment over time. And this resentment can manifest in various ways, such as passive aggression behavior, passive aggressive behavior, and bitterness and withdrawal from relationships. And it can also poison otherwise your interactions if you start viewing your if you start viewing your interactions, or if you start viewing people through the lens of past negative experiences. So that could lead to resentment. How about this? Blame game. Basing your attitude on others, how other people treat you, can also lead to the tendency to blame others for your negative feeling instead of taking responsibility for your own emotional state. You may blame others, for making you feel the way you feel. Oh, you are the person that you are making me feel the way I feel. You make me feel in a certain way because of your behavior. You don't have to allow people to dictate how you feel. So this can create a cycle of negativity where you feel actually powerless to change your situation, reinforcing the feeling of helplessness. So, when you talk about, oh, well, my attitude will depend on how, you treat me, that is quite dangerous and that is not healthy. Okay, let's look at another one, number 3, the third one, lack of personal agency. How do I mean by that? It means you are giving away control. You are giving away control. When you allow other people's actions to control your attitude, you are essentially giving away your personal power. You're giving it away. So that means those people have the power to control how you feel. They have the power to control, in fact, your life, basically. So this lack of agency can make you feel like a victim of circumstances rather than an active participant in your own life. You just stay there as a victim. No, you are an active participant in your own life. So instead of making choices based on your own values and desires, you are constantly reacting to the whims and behavior of those around you because you let them control you. Because you base your attitude on how they treat you. And the next thing, it can lead to reduced sense of self-worth. You give away control, and then it can lead to reduced sense of self-worth. So over time, this can erode your sense of self-worth. If your happiness and your peace of mind are always contingent on how others treat you, you may start to believe that you are only as good as their approval or disapproval. And that's very dangerous. This kind of mindset can be damaging to your self-esteem and your overall mental health. Okay, let's look at a heavier perspective and how you can manage the situation. So to cultivate a more balanced and empowered mindset, it is important to shift this focus. You have to shift the focus so that you will have a more balanced mindset and, have, focus from how people treat you to how you respond. That's quite important. You shift that focus from how people treat you to how you respond to situations and how you can care for yourself. If you don't care for yourself, nobody will. So let's go a little bit deeper. How do you do that? Number 1, set boundaries. Oh yes, you have to set boundaries. If you don't set boundaries, people will walk into your life and walk out of your life anyhow. They talk to you, treat you anyhow. But when you set boundaries and you communicate, you set the boundaries and you communicate expectations. You communicate to them. Boundaries are essential for healthy relationship. Boundaries are essential for healthy relationship. By clearly communicating your expectations and your limits, you are taking control of how others treat you. And that's very, very important. You are, we're taking control. And this is, important. If someone crosses those boundaries, you can assertively address the issue rather than passively allowing it to affect you. Some people, they will not challenge that. They will not assertively challenge or address that issue. Instead, they go into themselves, eating up themselves, and allow the situation to control them. They will be unhappy throughout the day or throughout the week. They don't want to face the issue and address it. There are so many people like that, and they continue to suffer. You are suffering yourself. Why do you want to keep on suffering instead of communicating your boundaries? And, communicate it effectively to, to the people around you. This is what, these are my expectations. Okay. So setting boundaries allows you to protect your emotional space and well-being. Okay, let's look at another one. After you have set the boundaries, okay, and you communicate your expectations, the next thing is to enforce consequences. Of course, people will try to violate the boundaries. They try to ignore it. They'll do all sorts to make sure they keep shifting or pushing the boundaries. So you enforce consequences. So part of setting boundaries involves enforcing consequences when they are crossed or when they are violated. Yes. Okay. So, for instance, I give you, if someone consistently disrespects you, you may choose to limit your interaction with the person. And this empowers you to take, control of the situation rather than letting it control you. So you take action, where you can limit the interaction, you can limit, the communication with this person or the interaction if this person consistently disrespects you. So let's look at another one is self-care. You have to prioritize. I said earlier on, if you don't look after yourself, if you don't care for yourself, nobody will. So you prioritize, your well-being, self-care. Prioritize your well-being. Self-care is about putting your needs and well-being first, regardless of how others treat you. This means engaging in activities that nourish your mind, spirit, and soul. I made a post somewhere that your mind is not a dumping ground. Don't allow people to keep dumping things, on you, and then you just keep carrying those things. So, this means you have to engage in nourishing activities, engage in activities that nourish your mind, your body, and your soul, whether it is through exercise, hobbies, meditation, spending time with the loved ones, the people that treat you well. So when you prioritize self-care, you are less likely to be thrown off balance by other people's behavior because you have a strong foundation of self-love and self-worth. So which is very, very important. You have that strong foundation and self-worth. Now, the next one I want us to look at is emotional regulation. Part of self-care is learning how to regulate your emotions in a very healthy way. So this might involve practicing mindfulness, journaling, or seeking therapy to help you process negative emotions without letting them to control your attitude. So you regulate your emotions and don't allow them to run free will or to keep running without brakes. Okay, the third one we'll look at here, we have looked at setting boundaries, we have looked at self-care. The next one I want us to look at is developing resilience. So resilience is the ability to bounce back from challenges, setbacks. So when some people have, violated you, made you to lose focus, you're angry, you try to bounce back, and don't let that control your attitude. So by developing resilience, you can maintain a positive outlook, even when you're faced with difficult situations or difficult people. So that doesn't mean that you ignore. It doesn't mean that you are going to ignore the negative emotions, but rather you are learning how to manage them in a very healthy way, in a way that it doesn't allow them to dictate your overall attitude. You don't allow those negative emotions to dictate your overall attitude. Okay. Lastly, internal locus of control. Internal locus of control. A key aspect of resilience is cultivating internal locus of control, which is the belief that you have power over your own life and circumstances. So when you adopt this mindset, you no longer feel like, a victim of other people's actions. Instead, you recognize that while you can't control how others treat you, you can control how you respond. I say it again. Instead, you recognize that while you can't control how others treat you, you can control how you respond. Where there is a saying that you can't stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can stop that bird from perching on your head. Okay. All right. In conclusion, it is natural to want to be treated well. Every one of us, actually, we want to be treated well. But basing your entire attitude on the behavior of others is dangerous. It can lead to emotional instability. It can lead to resentment and loss of personal agency. So instead, cultivating a mindset focused on self-care, resilience, and healthy boundaries allows you to maintain your inner peace and well-being, regardless of external circumstances. By taking control of your emotional responses and prioritizing your own needs, you can build a more stable and empowered life. I hope this helps you, and I would like you to subscribe and share, and give me your comments, and I would like to read your comments. And thank you for listening. Bye for now.